welcome to the show. In this episode, we're looking at some world news and how it's affected different people around the world. Let's dive right in. Microsoft outage, CrowdStrike security update impacts airports, hospitals, banks around the world. So a CrowdStrike security update was automatically installed across Microsoft servers early Friday morning. A massive technology outage has hit computer systems globally, affecting airlines, hospitals, healthcare providers, 911 call centers, banks, and other businesses. CrowdStrike, a cybersecurity company founded in 2011, owns more than 10 different security and IT tools, according to the company's website. Is involved with almost 300 of the Fortune 500 companies, 6 out of the top 10 healthcare providers, 8 of the top 10 financial services firms, and 8 of the top 10 technology firms. President Biden was briefed on the outage, and his team has been in touch with CrowdStrike, according to a White House press release Friday morning. Biden is expected to receive sector-by-sector updates, and the Department of Homeland Security is working to fully assess and address system outages. So what exactly is the problem? Let's look into it. Devices using Windows client and Windows Server that automatically installed a CrowdStrike security update Friday morning are stuck in a restarting state. This restarting state is more colloquially referred to as the blue screen of death, BSOD, which locks users out of their computers. What caused this? 2 issues with Microsoft systems happened back to back. On Thursdays, Microsoft clients in the central United States reported having issues with its cloud service Azure, which resulted in several airlines briefly grounding all flights. On Friday, a flawed security update by CrowdStrike affected even more Windows users. It is not clear whether Microsoft's initial issue with Azure was related to the crashes caused by the CrowdStrike update. George Kurtz, CrowdStrike's chief executive, issued a statement Friday morning clarifying that it is not a security incident or cyber attack and that the issue has been identified, isolated, and a fix has been deployed. We're deeply sorry for the impact that we've caused to customers, to travelers, to anyone affected by this, including our company, Kurt said in an interview on NBC's Today. Why is the CrowdStrike outage taking so long to fix? Why is it taking so long to fix? Microsoft, in a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, early morning Friday, said that while the underlying cause has been fixed, the residual impact is continuing to affect some Microsoft 365 apps and services. Lukas Olejnik, an independent cybersecurity consultant, told the New York Times that the problem is that resolving the issue requires a manual reboot for each device affected. For the large-scale companies and industries that are impacted, there isn't a way to automate the reboot. Each individual device affected has to be addressed. There is a workaround, but it requires manually tampering with Windows systems files in recovery mode, Olejnik told the outlet. Such practice is in general not advised ordinarily, as mistakes may cause other problems. Therefore, these companies need to figure out how to deploy large numbers of professionals to go through and update each of their devices one by one. Side note here, this IT outage is a stark reminder of how dependent we are on technology and many other things that happen behind the scenes that most of us are unaware of, right? Modern society and the many comforts we enjoy it's a very fragile thing. And every day we need to be grateful for what we have. We're in a situation so that so many companies and so many systems and so many individuals depend on one or two companies that sort of have some sort of a monopoly on things. When things go wrong, it goes really wrong. So let's take a look at who was affected by the CrowdStrike outage. Hospitals. Several major hospitals throughout the US have had to cancel all non-urgent visits due to disruptions from the outages. Mass General Brigham, a non-profit that operates one of the largest hospital systems in Massachusetts, said in a post on X that it was dedicating every available resource to resolve this issue as quickly as possible. James Bohr, a managing director of a cybersecurity consulting firm, told the Associated Press, "There are going to be deaths because of this. It's inevitable." Scary stuff. Very unfortunate. Airports. Airports across the globe have reported issues with international and domestic flights. South Korea's largest airport, Incheon International Airport, is dealing with delays across a lot of low-cost airlines because of issues with ticketing and other services. In Germany, all flights at Berlin-Brandenburg Airport were temporarily suspended, although some departures started to resume around 10 a.m. CET. Dutch airline KLM also announced it was affected and that operations would be suspended until further notice. Switzerland's largest airport in Zurich announced that planes were not allowed to land this morning. In the United States, more than 26,000 flights were delayed and more than 2,000 flights were canceled because of the outage. By noon Eastern Time, the United Airlines Group stop was lifted. In the United States, American Airlines, Delta, and United were grounded for over 12 hours, we believe. This is likely to be the biggest IT outage in history, which forced a nationwide ground stop of all the three airlines. 911 call centers. Several emergency 911 call centers were disrupted throughout the U.S., including in Phoenix and across the entire state of Alaska. Although some cities and states have reported improvement throughout the morning. Again, this is very scary stuff. 911, the emergency lines not being available. Courts. The New York Times reported that court systems were temporarily closed today because of the outage. The entire Maryland judiciary system announced this morning that it would only be open for emergency matters. In Kansas, some courts have opted to use paper filings and manual processes for filings as they wait for a solution. Nothing beats paper. I think when technology fails, we always revert back to the old school ways of doing things. Schools. The outage also impacted computers on college campuses where summer school classes are still in session. The University of Rochester, the University of Alabama, Rutgers University, and the University of Kentucky are some of the few institutions that reported campus computers were subject to the CrowdStrike outage. Power School, which makes one of the most widely used information systems for K through 12 grading and student enrollment across the U.S., also reported being affected by the outage. Banks. TD Bank, the 10th largest in the U.S., confirmed that it was impacted by the outage and said it was working to restore all online banking systems. Bank of America, Visa, JP Morgan Chase, Charles Schwab, and Zelle were also affected. The London Stock Exchange's news service stopped working, and Pakistan's JS Bank told customers that it was facing technical issues. Bloomberg reported that Deutsche Bank said its research portal was impacted, and S&P Global Market Intelligence also said it was experiencing service issues across numerous S&P Global platforms, including securities finance products. However, forecasting firm Capital Economics told the AP that while the outage is still happening, it does not anticipate a major macroeconomic or financial market impact at this stage. Public transportation. For the most part, public transit in major cities has been able to keep buses and trains running on time. However, the outage does seem to have impacted ticketing systems and other tech sectors such as train times. In an interview with CNBC, Secretary of Transport Pete Buttigieg said there was no indication of an impact to most systems within the U.S. Department of Transportation. Paris Olympics. The Paris Olympics, which kick off next week on July 26, said that its IT services had been affected, although mostly regarding uniform deliveries and accreditations. Its ticketing system and preparation of venues are continuing normally, the organization said in a press release. This is scary stuff, guys. Scary stuff when you come to the realization of all the different systems and institutions that we have and use and depend upon that are running on software, right? We're using computers and technology and IT teams, often run by Microsoft or one of the top companies out there. We hope everything goes back to normal. This doesn't happen again. And we'll be following the news as things go back to normal. We just thought we'll bring you this story, see how it's affecting things globally. And that's all we have for this episode. Thanks for stopping by. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and support us on buymeacoffee.com/Samson King. That's all we have for today. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.